I am up, just made a pot of coffee, and a few days ago I put on my IG stories that I was going to tell you all about what I do in influencer marketing and answer some of your most burning questions. Okay, background before I go into the questions. So I work in influencer marketing, that's my full-time job. I have for the last probably 4 years. Currently I work for a clean beauty brand called Ilia Beauty. If you haven't tried it, the products are amazing. I joined Ilia about 2 years ago and there was no one in this role, so it was kind of building from the ground up. Obviously there are many things that I work on in my role. I would say product launches are a huge part. For each launch, we're sending out a mailer with a new product to a bunch of influencers. We're working on paid campaigns or content campaigns. We're working on events. Obviously the main goal is brand awareness. It's building this beautiful community of people, and that's, what I love so much is so much of what I do is relationship building. There's glamorous parts to the role, but there's not so glamorous parts to the role too. I'm gonna dive into some of your questions. Okay, so one is just graduated college. Any advice for a grad on the job hunt in the beauty industry? Okay, well, first of all, congrats on graduating. That's really exciting. And also kudos to you because I imagine it's a really weird time in the industry. If I have one piece of advice, it's to intern throughout school. That's, I think, the reason where I am today. As long as you have like a good spirit and a hard work ethic, I think that shows a lot and people are willing to give recommendations for you. I find that a lot of internships and jobs that I've gotten are just word of mouth, and I think your work ethic speaks volumes for you. But I would also say live on LinkedIn, constantly look for jobs, connect with people, reach out to people, see if they're down to do a Zoom coffee or just chat. In school, they really pushed informational interviews on us, which is just asking somebody to grab coffee and asking them questions about what they do and their job, how they got there. It's funny because people really love to talk about themselves, and I feel like you end up building a connection with someone that you might not have otherwise gotten to know. Next up, how do you find influencers who want to build a relationship with the brand versus fulfill an agreement? This is really interesting. So I think the best way is to find influencers who are already talking about your brand organically. That just feels like the perfect fit. I find across tiers of influencers, so micro and nano influencers, mid-tier influencers, top-tier influencers, there are always people who are organically talking about you. There are mega influencers who talk about Ilia actively that we've never worked with in any serious capacity. And they just love the brand. So when we do have a paid partnership and I'm thinking of people who could be a good fit, those people come to mind that are already mentioning the brand. But then there are people that you still desperately want to work with that will just not talk about you unless it's paid and they're just interested in fulfilling a contract. I think in the broader goal of building a community that loves your brand, those people aren't as necessary. You want people who are in it for the long haul and just truly love the products. Okay, I love this question. How do you manage executing on decisions you don't necessarily agree with? That is so tough. I mean, when you're working for a company and a business that's not your own, at the end of the day, you don't have the final say. In my current role, I align so much with the brand and values that I really don't run into that issue, but I have in the past. You will run into it at some point. You have to take a step back. People who work in influencer marketing and also social media, especially community managers, and what that means is someone who's in and out of the DMs every day, they're just answering DMs. It's really a customer service role. Those people know better than anyone what is and isn't okay to say and do. I feel like I have a good pulse on things because I'm talking to influencers day in and day out. Sometimes people who are so far removed from the internet and that world just don't know what's okay and not okay to say. So it's interesting. I think it's a fine line of balancing this is your work, but also you're an expert in this field. And, I think if something's important, speak up. If you feel really strongly that that's the wrong decision, explain why, have backup. But at the end of the day, depending on what it is, sometimes you have to just bite it. It's not your brand, and that's okay. Maybe you'll make your own brand one day, and then you can execute on all the decisions exactly how you'd like. Okay, this is a good one too. Does working in the influencer space impact your mental health, and in what ways? 100% yes. I think anyone who tells you it doesn't would be lying. Let's just be honest, we're on the internet 24/7. So there's no way that cannot affect your mental health. I've been doing this for so long that I don't know anything else. So obviously you learn ways to work with it. There's a lot of comparison, of course. You're looking at influencers who have amazing lives every single day, and social media is a highlight reel. I know that. Still, we see stuff every single day and we're like, oh, I wish that was me. Oh, I wish I had that life. Oh, I wish I had never had to work a day in my life and could just like spend time on vacation every week. Obviously, that's not their lives either. Like, there's tons of stuff we're not seeing every single day, but I think the comparison thing is the biggest factor. Sometimes it's really important to just like lock your phone away, be outside. I rarely take my own advice in that area. And yeah, of course, there are amazing days and there are not so good days, a lot of highs and lows, but I still, at the end of the day, like, wouldn't change it because I do love what I do. So then I also got quite a few questions about work-life balance and working from home life balance, which I feel like kind of morphs from the last question. Again, that's tough too, but I try to have slow mornings or moments in my day that are just to myself. I love working from home. I wouldn't change it for the world. I do not miss an office in the slightest, but I will say it's a lot harder to find the work-life balance when you're working constantly and also your home is your workplace. I try to like clock out, have fun at dinner, and then not worry about work till the next day. It does blur lines and boundaries, and I think, you know, there are a lot of nights that I'll just find myself emailing to like 9 or 10 p.m. But I totally feel people working from home, it is hard to find those lines, but it's important to just like cut off at a certain point. I like to think I have a decent work-life balance. So impressed that you manage a steady 9-to-5 job and create content. How do you find time? I feel like this is also part of the work-life balance question, but I really don't. I try to shoot early in the morning or like golden hour, which is now like 6-ish. I'm filming this right now on a Saturday morning, so my weekends are usually packed with shooting content. I try to have fun while I'm doing it and plan other things, but definitely every weekend I'm at least shooting something. I also could not do it without Scott. He is quite literally my Instagram husband, and he's the best. He shoots everything for me. I mean, I got sort of lucky when I married a creative. Did I do that on purpose? I don't know. I'm kidding, but something to think about when you're looking for a partner. Okay, I also got quite a few questions about how I ended up in Nashville or how I like Nashville. I love Nashville. If you recently started following me and haven't seen my last YouTube video, I kind of explained why we moved here, but my dad moved here like 10 years ago, so I was familiar with it. I lived here latter high school, first year of college, so like 3 or 4 years. So I was familiar with the city. When we were looking for somewhere to live, I was like, let's do Nashville. Here in Nashville, there's not a ton of jobs in the beauty or influencer marketing space, so I would definitely not move here if you're just starting out looking for a job in that industry. You already have experience in that world. So many companies are hiring remotely now, and I think so many people in the industry are spreading out across the country, and it's really exciting to see just like people living the lives that they want to live and also having the jobs they want to have. So I am eternally grateful to the brand that I work with for letting me live here. I love it. I'm so much happier than I was in New York, and just like so nice to have a full house and a full office. I'm not gonna get emotional, but I'm really happy here. It's really great. Okay, what percentage of your income is from social media versus your 9-to-5? It's drastically changed this year versus last year. I would say that's the key thing to consistency and growth. If you would have asked me this last year, it was like nothing. But this year, it's about 50% of what I make at my full-time job. So it's not enough personally for me to want to do it full-time, and I also just don't want to do it full-time right now. I'm really happy in my full-time job and I love working in the industry. But yeah, it's been an amazing like boost of fun money, and I really love it. Like, I love the community that I've built. I love getting to work with brands and changing it up so much. Like, it's really fun to like get to do something new every single day. That's what makes me good at my full-time job, is that I understand these conversations other brands are having. All in all, it's been really great, and I'm really grateful for the experiences that I've had. Okay, how did you get to where you are? What helped you move from an assistant to managerial role? I would say I hope that my work ethic speaks for itself. I'm very outspoken. I don't think in a bad way. I like to be an expert in my field, and I'm really grateful to say, like, every year since I've graduated college, I've gotten a promotion. So I'm 4 years out of college and I'm now senior manager. So when I first graduated, I was a coordinator. I got promoted the next year to an assistant manager role. Then I left the last job I was at for a manager level role, and then just this past year got promoted to senior manager. But it's definitely not everyone's career path, and I know a lot of times in bigger companies, it's a lot harder to get promoted. Like, you really do have to pay your time. I think, you know, if you've been in a role for a really long time and you're not getting promoted, sometimes the only way to get promoted is to leave. But I don't advocate leaving, you know, when you've only worked somewhere for like less than a year or even less than 2 years. I feel like 2 years is a really healthy amount of time to stay somewhere. You know, I'm not the type of person to coast in a job. I like give it my all for sure. Depending on your personality type, some people just like go to work, clock off, they don't care. Like, I get so invested in a brand. I think just like going above and beyond in your role is really important, and that's kind of like how you scale up. You know, I hope that I'm always looking for ways to get innovative with the brand and like go above and beyond like my job scope. I think a lot of it's like letting your work speak for you, but also have open conversations with your manager saying like, hey, you know, I would love to be here by X date. Like, what do I need to get there? Every company is different, but I will say, you know, I've been at very different brands and I've still managed to get promoted. So I think your work ethic speaks a lot for you. Somebody asked, where was I before Ilia? What was I doing? So prior to Ilia, I worked for a French skincare company, Caudalie. I loved it. The products are also amazing. If you haven't tried the Vena Perfect Serum, it's gonna change your life. I also did, you know, a bit of influencer marketing, more focused on micro-influencer community, and then also social media there. So now in my role, I do nothing with social, like I mentioned, but yeah, it was an amazing experience. I got to travel to Paris and Bordeaux. I'm really grateful for the experience, and I learned so much in that role. I loved the company. All right, and that is all I have for you for now. If you have more questions about influencer marketing, please comment them and I will write you back, or DM me at April Lockhart and we can have a chat about it. Thanks for hanging with me. This was really nice. I'm sorry it's taken me forever to get back on YouTube. I really do want to get back into this, and I'm going to try to find someone who can help me edit, because that's where I feel like I go array. Okay, if you've made it this far, you're a real one, and I love you. Thank you for watching. Hopefully it was interesting, and hopefully the next time I see you won't be too long, but I said that the last time, so I'm not gonna make promises. Okay, love you, bye.